Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we have a very special live stream called MAPP Makes Friday the 13th. This is kind of like a pitch or a breakdown of a script I wrote. It's actually a script that reboots to Friday the 13th. Now, I did this intro just for those rewatching this after it's live. I'm going to allow some people to fill in. Let's get just a handful, maybe about 50 people in here. And once we get that many in, I'm going to go right into this. And then I'm going to go into the fan feedback from you guys and pull some thoughts and opinions from the comments section. But so to give you some backstory, I am a concept fan when it comes to Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Halloween, essentially. Now, I do like some of the originals, the original movies and stuff, but I never really thought the franchises were as good as they could be. So, loving the idea and having Jason and Friday the 13th as my favorite slasher growing up, I decided to write a full-length script and enter it into a screenplay competition. So I did just that. I have a full completed script called Crystal Lake, and I absolutely love this story about the Jason Voorhees character. Now, there's some things I did change, and I think we're close. We're probably just gonna get right started with it. There's some things I changed, but I changed it and kept it as like a nod to the original. For example, Jason in the changes from the original. In this one, he is adopted and he's abused, and I kept that because, I kept the victim like vibe surrounding Jason. In the original, I believe the creators of the characters didn't want him to be the villain. The mother was always the villain, hence how he died. And afterwards, when they knew they could make money off the franchise, they had him come back as the villain. And if I remember correctly, they weren't happy about that at all, and they didn't continue to work on the project. I could be mixing that up a little bit, but I just know they weren't happy at all. And so I kept Jason as the villain, but I kept Jason as the victim to some degree in parts of the story. I also have him as the villain clearly in the story, and then I have him as the anti-hero, because as Jason has grown more and more popular over the years with the sequels and then the reboot that they did a little while ago, and then Jason versus Freddy, a lot of fans see him as an anti-hero / villain character. So I kept those, and I think that's really important. Just taking a look and see how many people come in here. All right, I do want to dive right into this, though, for the people who are watching this later on. That way we get right to it. So, all right, the changes to Mrs. Voorhees, and I'm going to go over the story in a second, the kind of script pitch. First off, I took away her just having one son. In this, she has two sons, and I took the two names that the original creators wanted for Jason. I think there was something like there was two sons, and they took the original names and they combined them, which gave him Jason. Or I think it was the creator's son. We had two sons, and he took their name. Either or, I did it. She had two sons, and they drowned at Crystal Lake, and then Jason was conceived. There's something that has to do with a certain camp counselor in that regard that is in the story, but she believes Jason is a gift. She is crazy, and there's other stuff that's going to be revealed, but she does try to drown him, and yes, she is the original killer, so I'm keeping that. But this is shown through flashbacks, and she was never convicted or caught of the killing. She was caught and thrown in jail for attempted murder, trying to kill Jason, and hence how Jason ends up being adopted. Now, I feel like the story is a lot smoother and flows better when you just hear the story itself, but I do want to kind of explain why I have some of the changes. Now, going into the story, the intro is something that I absolutely love. Right here, Vonda says, actually, it was the director's childhood classmate who was named Jason, and he hated him, thus that name. I gotta look it up and see what I'm thinking of, because I know there was something where they combined names. I could be mixing that up with something else. But so I could have sworn it was like Josh and something else, and then they got Jason out of that. But I think I remember something about a classmate someone hated, though. So With the story, though, the intro is going to kick off with a black screen, and you get the sound of something thudding against wooden steps. And then when the light comes on, you see this guy who's starting to regain his consciousness, and his head is whacking off each step as this big hulking figure with a pillowcase is around his head, and he's pulling him downstairs. He launches him to the middle of the basement. And I did go over a lot of the specific script material in a 30-minute video. I got the link down below. It's on the Ronnie Hayes channel. But he launches him into the middle of the basement, and he walks over, grabs his sledgehammer, and he drags it. I think I wrote in the script, it has like this chilling, dragging sound. And then the guy's starting to really come to, and the guy's a little beat up. And he picks up the sledgehammer, and just as he's about to crash it down, the guy screams as if to say, no, don't stop. But he screams his name, and he says, Jason. And then you cut to black and do the title card. And then we go into the Camp Crystal Lake. Now, the reason I did this was so we can go back in time and do flashbacks setting up his story, but also not do the usual structure that Hollywood and slasher, they usually set it up where they'll give you something in the beginning, a little tidbit, and then through the whole thing we're introduced to these characters that we know they're just going to get killed off one by one. You know what I'm saying? And right here I wanted to develop the characters but have this, Jason slasher story all throughout. So the story does weave in and out in a crazy way, but essentially we have cops investigating a foster family murder, and that is the family that Jason murders. In the beginning it was the father, but the story revolves around those cops investigating, which lead them to Camp Crystal Lake. Also, the reason why I wanted, or the way I kept Jason as an anti-hero, is we have people who are involved in a drug production ring that goes to abandoned places. They set up a little operation, and they're there for a few months, and then they bounce. Well, they're setting up this operation at Camp Crystal Lake because the backstory is there was these murders, and then they couldn't pin it on Mrs. Voorhees. They started looking into it. She went to jail for trying to kill Jason, and Jason went to a foster family. So years are going by. Camp Crystal Lake has been shut down, and as Jason started getting older to a certain age, he actually started sneaking out of the foster family. And I know that seems weird, like Jason in a foster family, but I'm going to bring it right back to the Jason we know and love in a second. But he actually starts sneaking out, and he's kidnapping counselors at Crystal Lake and killing them, and that's when they finally shut it down. So it's been shut down for a few years. But we find all this out through the backstory. And we have the Jason kills blended with the backstory of abuse all throughout, which I think is something they need to do. Now, I got three of my favorite scenes in this script is Lily by the Lake. This is something I talked about before, where Jason is hunting down somebody and he runs across this little girl. The little girl just lost her brother. And this is a scene where I wanted to showcase how creepy you can get Jason, but show him as a human being. I don't want him, he's deformed, he's messed up, but I don't want him to be this zombie, this unstoppable robot. So he goes up by the little girl. She says, you want to sit down? I'm letting my brother's frogs go. He just died. And she goes over all this spiel, and he actually drops his knife. She doesn't see it, drops his machete because he was chasing someone. He comes up and he sits down by the little girl. Now, this scene is difficult because if done right, I think it could be absolutely creepy, one of the most memorable scenes. But on paper, it's one where if you don't have the right vision, it might come off as kind of corny. And I feel like if let's say I had the opportunity and I filmed it and I couldn't capture that vision, I would probably cut it from the script. But essentially, Jason is sitting by the little girl, and she's talking about her brother and how the kids used to pick on him because he lost his hair and he was bald. And then she asks Jason if that's why he wears a mask. Do they pick on you? Because obviously you can see he's bald through his hockey mask. And his foot kind of slips off of the mud and goes plunking into the water. And he picks up his foot. I mean, this is like, it happens, picks it up. Jason's just, not really, it's not like a human being would go, oh, damn. It goes plunk, it lifts it up. And then she starts busting out laughing, and she can't stop. And this is the moment where I want to have Jason have like this kind of hoarse, creepy little chuckle. You know what I mean? Essentially, he lets the little girl live. And this is something that I do want to get a nice transition going from a Jason that is just a murder machine to a Jason that is still kind of exploring it. He lets some people go. He chooses, to kill certain people. And we're going to get to that. But the other scene that I really like, and again, I'm looking for things to touch back to the old movies, the old franchise, but in a fun way. For example, how all the slashers can get shot and just get up and walk away, right? Well, there's a scene where Jason is confronted and fleeing from someone who has a gun. Not really fleeing, he's kind of like walking into the woods, and somebody takes a couple shots at him and they hit him and he does go down, and those people run from a house to the tree line, and then they can't find him. So here we're touching back to the old, Jason is bulletproof crap, because I hate that crap. And then when we see him later, he is kind of breathing funny. He's moving around a little bit. Like, that shit hurt. He is a human after all. But it's not like Jason has an issue. It's not like, ouch, ooh, I'm in pain. But he's kind of like, damn, that stung. And we see him take off this bulletproof vest that he got off of someone that's there. So it kind of like adds to his bulk. And it does show some of his... it's not like I'm like a SWAT badass wearing a bulletproof vest. It's more like that does show his childish curiosity in a way, because I do want to highlight that throughout the story. And the ending is one of my all-time favorite scenes. Now, I feel like when the whole script comes together, the ending has more of an impact, but we never ever see Jason's face fully. There's a couple of great scenes, but there's an amazing scene with a foster sister. I'm going to get to that in a second, but the very, very end, they're at Camp Crystal Lake, and he just got done killing a couple people, and he comes around the van, and he's killing the last two guys, and there's two girls there. We're going to cut right to the chase, because I'll tell you the story in a second, but he stabs the second to last guy, and as the guy is falling off of his machete, he grabs a hold of his mask and he tears it off. And this is the first time we see it. At the very end of the movie, first time we see his mask, the guy rips Jason's mask off and he reveals this sick, sinister smile. And in the script, it says, forget how I wrote that, but I love how it... Oh, yeah, right here. Jason... Yeah, as the body falls, the man keeps his grip on the mask, ripping it off his face, revealing Jason's deformity and a sick, twisted, happy smirk on his face. He loves the killing. And I think that was such an awesome way to just do the face reveal, but also showcase the twistedness in a different, instead of having this killing machine, like this is someone who's more and more enjoying this aspect, killing in different ways, in twisted ways. Someone said Tommy went batshit crazy. I'm not sure. The franchise was, I don't know. The franchise was all over the place. But I do want to go into the backstory just quickly, because I feel like I was able to touch on some really hardcore stuff with the backstory. The pillowcase. Now, you guys know old Jason in part 2, I think it was. He had a sack with a hole cut out in the eye. Well, in the script, when he goes to the foster family, he is deformed. The mother is a real bitch. And she says, we don't see any of this. We see it in a... matter of fact, you know what? So the sack is actually a pillowcase. Because we don't see them talking about it, but we hear it. We hear how the mother said she can't eat when he's there because he's all deformed. So I thought the pillowcase would be a nice thing to incorporate that touches back to the original. I love that scene right there. Oh, right here. All right. So it's interior shed daytime. Foster father has a ladder out and he is putting the finishing touches on the living quarters in the shed. The foster mother comes rushing through the door. A woman on a mission. Foster mother, I don't want him here. Foster father, it's one night. Tomorrow he can stay in here. Foster mother, oh, I'm sorry. Here in the guest house? Oh, I forgot, because when I walked in, it still looked like a fucking shed, shithead. Foster father, oh, come on, that's not fair. Foster mother, we will go to jail. That's not fair. Foster father, what? this isn't bad. It was going to be my man cave, remember? It's got a shitter, electric needs some work, but foster mother interrupts, get him out of my house. Foster father, I can't get more work at the factory. Hours are even getting cut. You know that. We just had enough money this week to put TJ in hockey. Foster mother, TJ and his buddy can play street hockey for free in the fucking street. I want him gone. Foster father, the money the state's giving us is keeping us from losing the house. He stays. Mother, we won't need the house or the money because we will be in jail. The big house, you moron. The father, the freak stays. I'll work on this till it's as good as our house or close to it. If it doesn't work out, I'll tell the state he killed our cat. Take him back. Mother, well, until then, she says something really nasty, but my daughter's in a room. We'll skip that. And but yeah, they curse each other out a little bit. She storms out, but stops in the doorway. And you need to buy me a new pillowcase. Father, why? Just wash it. You said you can't eat when you look at him. Just wash it. And she interrupts, your son cut a hole in it so the freak can see. And he did it while it was still on his head. So he's tormented by everybody. At first you'd be like, oh, he cut his hole so he can see. No, he's tormented by everybody, in the entire house. But I love that back and forth between the family there. But it's funny how the dad says, I'll tell the state he killed our cat and they'll take him back. Because later on, Jason has his dog, and the foster father says, if I step in shit one more time, I'm going to kill that dog or get rid of that dog. And anyway, something happens and the foster father actually ends up killing the dog. Little Jason tries to protect it. He gets whacked on his head. So later we cut to Jason with the family cat standing in the woods. And he has a cat and then he has an empty pillowcase. And he throws the cat in the pillowcase, twists it, brushes off dust off a rock and just smashes it. And then he looks inside the case and then he's not satisfied, so he smashes it again. And he continues to do this until dust of blood is just spraying out of the pillowcase. It's just like a bullshit. Yeah. So it was kind of like an act of revenge, but it also, this touches with like serial killers when they have this thing with animals and yada yada yada. So I connected that in there. But the foster sister scene is probably one of my favorite scenes ever. And again, I'm trying to touch on the humanity here. I want to read you guys the foster sister scene because I love this. Right here. All right. So this is a flashback, and this is a little bit before Jason murders the foster family. Now, keep in mind, this is a Jason who is tormented in this house, and there was also a foster girl living in the house, and she always had pity on him. And it said, like, there was a one scene after he got whipped, she snuck down and brought him food, and there was, maybe if I find the scene, I'll read it. It reads a lot better, but here. Interior shed night. A kerosene heater emits a warm glow. Hiccups always try to kill me. Warm glow a few feet around. Jason sits at the workbench, working diligently on his new kill tool, a weed whacker with a table saw. I think that was something that was from Friday the 13th, but I threw it in there as like he makes these like weird tools. Anyway, the shed door opens. Jessica enters. He tucks the tool under the bench and goes over to her. Jessica, hi buddy, Merry Christmas. She reveals two gifts from behind her back. He hugs her. Now keep in mind, that's Jason Voorhees with the pillowcase a little bit before he snaps. Jessica continued. Now he's in his 20s at this time, not like a little kid Jason, but Jessica, quick, open, not 20s. You get what I mean. Jessica, quick, open them. I have to get back to work. He opens the first. It's a comforter. Jessica, to keep you warm in here. She can barely get the sentence out without crying. Because keep in mind, he's living in the shed behind the house. He opens the other gift, a machete. Jessica, you have to sharpen it, buddy, but I seen this adventure seeker guy on TV. He would use it to clear a path in the jungle. Since you love being in those woods, Jason, I thought. She is emotional again. He hugs her. Jessica, make a path, Jason. Make a path and get the hell away from here. She lifts part of his cloth, revealing exposed skin, and kisses him goodbye. Again, we don't see his face, but she just lifts a part of the pillowcase and gives him a kiss goodbye. Jessica, I got gotta go, Jason. Just because I'm not living here anymore doesn't mean I have forgotten about you. She leaves. Yeah, this is like 17-year-old Jason. You know what I mean? So, this part I love. Jason sets the machete down on the table. We don't see his face, but he removes his mask, and he brings the comforter to his face to feel the softness. A tear hits the machete blade. I love that. I love that shit. I already know some people aren't going to like this. So Jessica, the foster sister, the only one who is actually nice to him in the world, is the one who gives him his, iconic. That's an origin story to his machete, essentially. I have wrote down a couple Jason kills from the script that I thought was real cool, but I wanted to look and see if, I did highlight the one kill here. All right. There was a scene later on I wanted to read you with the Jessica when she goes to. Anyway, she goes to sneak him some food the night he got beat by his foster father, and he got beat with like one of those cords. Anyway, tears up his back and he's bleeding, right? So she sneaks food out to him, and in the script it's like she sits down and she's cleaning his wounds, putting alcohol on his wounds, and she winces and he doesn't. And then she says, "Doesn't that hurt?" And he just nods his head yes, So I wait, someone's lagging. Juliet, you don't have the internet on you, do you? No. Can you shut the Wi-Fi off? Yeah, you know what to do. Like you're out of the house. Yeah, you know what to do. Just in case it's getting, because I think some people are saying they're getting a lot of lag. We don't have anything connected to the internet, so hopefully it shouldn't be too laggy. Mine's glitching too. Damn, that sucks. Some people are saying it's smooth. Others are saying it's laggy. I haven't seen comments yet, but I seen someone said, Final Verdict said, I like the idea, but I see a lot of people saying that Jason is being too humanized. That's why I did that, and I did that on purpose. And it's not humanized like, he's a human, he's the victim, because when you read the whole story, it is exactly what I said, where he is the victim, and it's exactly what the original creators wanted, and he is also the villain. It's also the first part of a trilogy where when he finally transforms, that is it. Jason is the Jason you know and love, the killing machine, but he's still human. He can die. He can get shot. He can die. He can get cut. And I don't want it, or at least me personally, like me as a fan, for me, it's not scary watching this like zombie version of Jason or this whatever. To me, it's having a human type of demented mind. You know what I mean? That is terrifying because that can happen in real life. This zombie type creature that's just a non-stop killing machine, you will never see that in real life. So again, that's about preference, but I can see how some people can hear those little bits, but those moments are what I absolutely love because it's a little bit new and refreshing, and again, it adds more to the complex layers that people have. You'll find, no, I don't want a zombie Jason. I mean, me personally, I don't think a zombie Jason is cool. Now, if you're talking about like a funny, haha, zombie Jason, sure, zombies. I love zombies. I love Jason. That's fine. But for a movie, for me, it doesn't work. But we have a couple Jason kills because if you're a slasher fan, you're gonna love the Jason kills, and we have the Slim and Fatso. This is a funny one. I'm not gonna go over all the details, but I think it's Slim is upstairs. wait. Slim is upstairs and he's high as hell. Slim is upstairs and he's high as hell, and he finds a pillowcase with a hole in it because at this time Jason gets the hockey mask, He finds a pillowcase with a hole in it and some blood somewhere. And he's like, man, if I was high, I'd be freaking out right now. And he tells himself, shit, I am high. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And before he can leave, Jason shows up. And this is the part of the camp that is, it was even abandoned before the full camp shut down. So the drywall's all crumbly. So there's a nice little rumble scene there where he goes through a wall. And then Jason is locked out of a room, but he's pounding on the door, and the Slim is trying to pull the boards off. So it's like a race. Every time Jason pounds on the door cracks more, and then he's pulling the boards off to jump out the window. And he just gets out the window but holds on because it broke, so he kind of was falling in a weird angle. He grabs on the ledge, and before he can even look to drop himself down, the machete comes slamming down on his fingers. And then the camera transitions to Fatso sitting on a bench right on the side of the same house, rolling a joint, and you see Slim just fall and hit because he has headphones on, he's singing music, and the camera would be, through his perspective, so he can't hear nothing. So you just see Slim's body hit the ground, and then it does a hard cut to Slim the moment after he hits the ground, and his fingers follow, because he had his fingers chopped off, which made him fall. And there's more to that death scene, but that part I love. I could just picture, if you filmed it right, having the fingers fall afterwards. The sleeping bag was a nod to the original, not the original, but the original franchise. And that one's done a little more realistic, though. Instead of having this fake sleeping bag, he picks the sleeping bag up, cracks it off a tree, breaks the girl's legs, throws her down a hill, and then he takes those metal rebarbs and tosses them at her. I did that full death in the other video if you want to check it out. The cabin flashback is one of my favorites. I also cover this in a couple videos, but he does enjoy tormenting them, and he kidnapped one of the counselors. He has him in his shed there, and he just has an oil lantern. And when he turns on the oil lantern, it's just a glow. And then he sits down next to him, pulls out a bow and arrow, and he aims it right at his head. He pulls it back. And keep in mind, if you film the scene with just the sounds, no music, no burn, no none of that, and you hear the slow creaking of the arrow, and he do a point of view where he aims it right at his face, and he just stops, and the guy's trying to squirm in his chair, and then Jason slowly backs up, and you hear the chair slide and going, and he backs all the way into the darkness, completely gone now, and the guy's freaking out, but he can't get out, and he finally stops, and he's kind of confused, looking around, and then bam, the arrow comes through the darkness and just hits him right in the head. Some of those scenes, again, if done right, I think it can be beautiful compared to some of the more generic kills we get in modern day slasher ones. The foster father was a good one. He gets his ass beat, and then Jason decides to, because the foster father killed the dog with a hammer. So years later, Jason takes that hammer, and he comes over, and his mission is to break every single bone in his body with a hammer, and he completes it. But the look of that scene, when we see it, when the cops are investigating, one of the cops throws up because it's literally a body with the sole mission of crushing every single bone, starting with the feet, What else? Oh, Nigel was a cool one. There's a character named Nigel, and he actually dies. And I wanted this to be a shot with a beautiful sunset. There was a lot of shit that happens at nighttime, and then a few of the characters are killed, as the sun comes up for the next day, and that's how we get the Jason with a smiling face in the daytime. And you know what? We're going to go over that ending in a second, but we have the reporter. I like the reporter. She is tied up on a tree, and Jason comes over, and she doesn't know anything about Jason, and he cuts the rope, and she's like, oh my God, thank God. Well, because she was doing a report, the drug dealers caught her, tied her up on a tree. They were going to question her, and Jason shows up, cuts the rope loose. There's a lot going on there, but I'm going to cut it short. And she was like, oh, God, thank God. And he just drags her over to the car and beats her head in with the door. But the decoy was a fun one. There's a guy and girl getting away. Guy's a real scumbag. And Jason is coming after them. And he has this idea. He's going to stab her in the leg. She's going to fall down. And while he's busy killing her, he's going to get away. And he stabs the girl in the leg. She falls down. He's running okay, he's looking back. And he sees Jason just get to the girl, push her aside, and then keep going right for him. He's like, oh my God, it didn't work, That one I love. The slow neck break, that's a one I wanted to test out whether it would work or not. But, you always see in movies where they grab a guy and it's like snap. And I'm like, I don't know. That's just not scary enough. So I'm thinking, what if he gets the guy, but, breaking a neck would be like hard or difficult. So he just keeps slowly trying to turn it. And imagine the struggle, the force, the pressure. Just having, if you did that scene the right way and then he gets the snap, I feel like that would be just chilling. You know what I'm saying? The ending is one of my favorites because I said, how big is my Jason? He's definitely, let's say, anywhere from 6'2" to 6'7"-ish. I think that would be a good size. He's definitely bigger. He's not your average, he's not like a 5-foot Jason. But the ending is one of my favorites because, like I said, remember, it is a trilogy. So even though we see some of the more human aspects, like he doesn't kill the little girl, he does sit down. He does show some sort of emotions around Jessica. But again, it is twisted. It is definitely twisted because of the way he grew up. But he has this transformation over the 3 movies. And the end of this, the first movie, you would have, like I said, the guy would fall down. It would reveal his face. And he has this grin on. He loves it. The demented, messed up face. He has this grin on. And then the 2 girls who witnessed him kill the last guy, they run off into the woods. And then Jason turns around, grabs his mask, and he puts it on as he turns to follow the girls. That is the important moment where we have to have the camera angled perfectly. And instead of getting Jason, who has chased the people in this movie, instead of doing that, he just slowly walks after them. At this moment, he knows, I got this. He slowly walks, and then for the very first time, we kick in the original Jason theme. I think that would be absolutely incredible. You got to hold off on the theme, though, through the entire movie and just show it in that moment, in the very end. And again, I think in the script I wrote it like, I think I call it Classic Jason. Yeah. Jason is retrieving his mask. He slides it on his face and turns to them. The girls freak the F out, and they scream their heads off and haul ass away from the bloody mess. They run. Jason walks. He walks right after them towards us. It's classic walking Jason. Yeah, I knew I called it classic walking Jason, but that's something that a lot of Jason fans know. Like when he goes after the victims, he does walk. And right here is where I think it's great because at this point in time, there's nowhere for the girls to go. It's a wooded area. I mean, he got this, but we do see a Jason that will walk, and I think that is terrifying when you got this bulking figure who wants you dead. The walking slow is creepy, yes, but there's moments where if he charges at you, it is terrifying. So we do have a moment where he definitely charged at him. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have the brightness up? Yeah. Yeah, I hold on, let me see. Webcam. I think the default settings are on the webcam. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. What, honey?
I got you level 67.
Did you? Yeah, I'll mess with the settings another time. I don't mean for it to be so bright. Yeah, I'm going to have to mess with these settings another time. Let me read a couple super chats real quick. We got a couple that came in. Dude, guys, with a $2 chat, Hollywood better let you make this movie. Listen, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much for the support. And even for those who are not feeling the script quite yet, I promise you this. If someone just showed up and they said, I own the rights to Jason, you got, $5 million, you can make this. I'm telling you what, I would sit down, polish the script, and the movie that would get made after that, as long as they did some of those scenes that were atmospheric that I was talking about, I'm telling you what, it's a bold statement, but I think it could be the best, the absolute best Friday the 13th movie out there now. Nothing beats the original to, fans, but I think this would be the best absolute, beating all the sequels and then the reboots that have come out. Paint Chip with a $5 super chat. Do you think there is a place for a campy Jason in modern cinema? I'm talking Falling Nips Jason x campy. Yeah, I think there's definitely a way to do a campy Jason. Me personally, though, being a big Jason fan, and I even did. I think a member of the MAPP family sent in the Jason shirt, right? I put that on for the Friday the 13th. But anyway, I think it could work, but like me personally, it would have to be done really good because I'm just not interested in that. I want a real one, I want something. That is for today's age, but it gives me that feel of Friday night, in the 90s, getting popcorn, going to the video store, getting a movie, getting home, sitting down with like either friends or a girlfriend and putting a movie on and just, damn. So I don't know. Something that could capture the vibe of enjoying a slasher like that. I think it would be great instead of like campy, Mr. Sir with a $2 chat said, Ronnie, you never looked so white. That's the brightness. I'll tweak it later on, but like I said, the OBS updated and it erased all the original settings I had for like brightness and stuff like that. Jason's appearance, is that what I heard? I would like to just tie it in with classic Jason. I'm fine with something along the lines of a dark gray button down if we went that route. Obviously, we would shy away from the overalls. Michael Myers has that. That's his shit. I know Jason has worn overalls before, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a little too similar. You got overalls on Jason with a hockey mask. You got overalls on Michael Myers with the Shatner mask. I just feel like something that has the dark look, but also something that is, I don't know. Let me see. Like that Jason, it's over there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but no, you can't see it. I got the monitor box in the way, but he just has like the dark green. It's a flat green button down long sleeve, kind of like a mechanic shirt, and then it looks like Dickies, but they're like a gray, like a muted gray. I'm fine with anything like that. The look of Jason, it's not really a big thing for me. I think I would just, as long as it's not the like a flaming pink shirt. The look of Jason, as long as it's in that style and it's not the overalls, I think I'm good with it. Paint Chip said, with a $5 super chat, do you think there is a place for campy wait, did I just cut? Oh, someone's message was retracted. Where you at? Somebody left a message and then deleted it, so I don't know what it is. Where's that? Thank you very much for the $4.99. Something happened with your message, though. Mohan Singhal, is that right? Silvano said, Ronnie, this movie needs to happen. We need something new for the franchise. I think there's a problem with the copyright. There's something going on. I know there's a lawsuit that stopped updates on the game. They have the Friday the 13th game, and I know there's some lawsuits going on that stopped that from continuing, so I'm not sure if that's also stopping movies. I see someone wrote lawsuits. Let's see what they say. There's actually a lawsuit going on right now over the rights of the franchise, and the new game might have halted new content. Yeah, the new game definitely did. No more updates, and no more. They don't even think they're going to be doing updates in the future as of right now. Nothing scheduled. The settings you just put up for color looks really good. I'm just messing with you. Keep up the great work. Oh, thank you very much. Do you have any ideas for a Predator film? I haven't really thought too much about a Predator film. I do know if I was sitting down right now to write a Predator spinoff, nothing that's connected with anything that's already done, I would make something where the Predator wins in the end. Now, I had this quick idea the other day where we see a Predator, our star Predator of the movie, and he's in the trophy room examining this skull. And then the Predator leaves, goes to Earth, and fights the good guy, yada, yada, yada. And he gets done, ends up the Predator wins. And a couple other things happen, but in the end of the movie, we realized that the Predator had already won a while ago. And when the Predator left, the skull that he was looking at and admiring was the skull of the human that we seen in that movie, like the hero of that movie. And he was admiring it because afterwards we will see the Predator with another foe, and it's like nothing to him. And I wanted something like that where he highlights, like, man, this was a warrior. But again, anything like with real deep like script idea or a pitch, I haven't really put much thought into it though. Predator Homeworld would be fun, but I also think that would be kind of tricky. I don't want too much revealed where it kind of messes with the mystery of it. I don't want it revealed and it's kind of lame. Maybe something with we always talk about snow and zombies. No, Predator in the snow doesn't work because they look for heat and stuff like that. Although it would be cool to see a Predator in a snowy environment. I don't know. That would be neat. Any ideas for a Predator film? I'll have to think of an idea, though, for a Predator film next. I guess I haven't really thought about it because no matter how you break it down, it's going to have a Predator challenging somebody, right? So I might do a little thinking about that and try to come up with something a little different. Do you like a huge Jason? Yes and no. Bigger than average, but not massive. Not like a 10-foot Jason. Mr. Midnight, I love the pillowcase Jason. Thank you very much. I like that idea too. Mohan Singhal. Ronnie, I freaking messed up my last super chat. I sent you a cool concept on a script scene through Instagram DMs. I was wondering how you feel about it. I haven't. When did you send it? Just now? I haven't read it yet. I haven't looked at Instagram in a while, actually. I'll check it out, though. And thank you very much for the support. Sorry you had to do it again because it messed up. Jason's setting in wintertime would be so dope and original in the snow. I think if that's something that a lot of fans wanted, like let's just say if they were like, oh my god, this script, there's a lot of potential, I would look into changing a couple things. I think adding snow in a snow environment would help out a little bit, and it would even help it touch back to some of the flashbacks. There's a Christmas flashback in there, so we already have like a flashback with snow with Jason. It's like 17-year-old Jason, but having it snow throughout the main portion of the story, that would be cool too. I'm down with that. I think you can even rework some of the deaths too and have something cool going on. I don't know. That could be pretty cool. Jason in the snow. I'm down for that, All right, something happened to the thing. Hold on. Can someone please tell me if Sons of Anarchy is worth investing my time on? Definitely go watch it. It is absolutely worth it. Silvano said, please greenlight this film. Do you ever read the comments? I'm reading them now. Can we get a Freddy Krueger movie from you? You know, I was thinking of Freddy Krueger a little while ago, and honestly, I'm trying, because I always bring everything down to a level of reality, you know, like a normalcy. Freddy Krueger's a tricky one because I wouldn't want to detach away from the he kills you in your dreams. So I would have to stick with that. Like if I was going to make a Chucky movie, even though I stick with as realistic as possible because I think everything works better grounded in reality except for that one element, like zombies. You don't want someone who can fly, you know, in a true zombie. If you're doing something different with superheroes and zombies, yeah, that's totally different. But I'm talking about just zombies. You want the world to function like the world. I think it's scarier. Same thing with Freddy Krueger. He, you know, would be in a real world, except the only thing fake would be obviously him attacking you in your dreams. I could have sworn I thought up something neat a little while ago about him, but I would keep that element, but everything else would be heavily grounded in reality. Freddy Krueger could be another fun one. That could be a really fun one. Paint Chip said, fair enough. I am the guy who unironically made my buddy watch Zombies. Yes, I spelled that right. The Sharknado, though. And Sharknado, though. Oh, so you're into those campy movies, huh? Ronnie, why are you so pink? Change the lighting. I'll change it later. I already changed it once. I had two systems that updated. I had Logitech because I'm using the webcam, and then OBS. One of them erased my settings that I had, so I'll go fix it later. I don't want to, because it might take me like 10 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and waste your time for 10 minutes. If I look a little pink, so what? Mr. Raincloud, Ronnie, the scene besides the lake with the little girl, do you think it would help the creep factor if the scene leading up to it are very violent, intense without being leading up to it is very violent, intense without being cartoonish? Oh, the scene before it is extremely violent. We go right from like, let's say the intro to there's a guy and a girl looking for a I got to read this one part. I love how I read that. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I love me, you know? Right here, look. Exterior woods day. A couple, man and woman, search around the thick woods as if looking for the last crack rock in the world. The man, Doug, sweats even in the shade. His eyes search the landscape like a crazed hawk. The woman, Angie, in her 20s, looks like she could model for the before and after pictures from the faces of meth. At this moment, she is the after picture. Angie, there. She has spotted the target of their search, a small cluster of cabins. The pair run. Exterior lake's edge day. The wooded area opens up, and this goes into the wooded area opens up, and a detective is looking with a map that says possible grave sites. He's looking for the counselors that went missing. These are the counselors that Mrs. Voorhees killed, and she was never caught for. And so he's looking around, and then he sets his binoculars down, and we go back over across the way, right where he's looking, but across the way, you know, so in the distance, we see Doug and Angie looking for this site. Angie bends down and picks up this wrapper that's used for drugs, like for the street drugs, and then she goes, oh, I think it's here, and she runs off, enters this house, and then we see Doug, and he's like, no, it's not that one. I've never seen these houses before. It's got to be the cabin that's connected to the lake. And then she starts floating backwards out of the house, and then we see that once she gets out of the house, her body shifts over a little bit, and we see that Jason has her on his machete, and he just tosses her aside like a rag doll, and then goes after Doug. And this scene is violent, and then you actually see it through the binoculars because the detective gets a call. So I would like the camera to be the point of view of the binoculars, so you see him running, and he gets into view, and you see him butchered, you know, in the distance. He can't hear him or nothing, but he's across the lake. And then Jason carries the body away, and then the cop retrieves his binoculars. So he never sees it, but I just thought it was an interesting way to show it. They're in the same area looking for different things, but Then we see that Jason deals with Doug, but Angie gets up and starts running away, and he goes after Angie, and that's when he runs into the little girl by the lake. Angie falls down and bleeds to death. She's not going to get stuck like that and then survive. She's, she runs a little bit, but so there is that very violent scene, if that helps you out. Like, this is a scene where he just butchers these people, and then he is hunting her down, good old-fashioned Jason, and he turns the corner, goes up this little hill, and he comes face-to-face with the little girl, and he puts the machete behind his back. He doesn't want to freak out the little girl. And then she does the old, are you going to hurt me? And he's like, no, fuck do I care? And then he drops the knife. She says, so you want to sit down? And he just lets go of the knife, and it falls right in the dirt. And he walks forward, and he sits down, and she's telling him, she's doing all the talking. My brother died. He just had cancer, little brother. He had these frogs. I'm letting him go. She has a little urn, her little personal urn. She's laying out some of his ashes, and that's where we do the Lily scene, Anyway. I would love to see your version of Michael Myers. I think that would be fun, man, to do a little version of that as well. Ronnie, Oceanside should have been the Whisperers. I don't agree. Because then it would be the Whisperers. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be Oceanside. There's a new Friday the 13th coming. No, not yet. Everything's stuck right now with a lawsuit. Predators crash on a snowy planet. Yeah, that would be freaking cool. Huge Jason is awesome. I want more Huge Jason. Did you hear they're remaking Pet Sematary? I didn't hear about it, but I'm not surprised. They're going to try to remake everything that has an established fan base. How do you feel about A Nightmare on Elm Street? Same thing. I'm a concept fan, but I don't think they've ever done A Nightmare on Elm Street where I'm like, oh my God, that's actually an incredible movie, interesting, fun. I mean, the classics are classics because I grew up watching them, so I have this connection with them. But as far as like being a good movie, I can't point to one and be like, oh my God, that one's really good. Now I hear about Zombieland 2. I've heard some things, but not a lot. If they remade Pet Sematary, would you want the setting to be in the 80s or modern time? Well, this gets tricky because setting in the 80s is becoming cliche now. It's becoming overdone, overused. And I feel like I don't want that to be overused, so I'd say be careful. If it's good, yes. If it's not, no. If the script is good, yes. If it's not, no way. Ronnie, have you seen the Infected movie with Ellen Page, The Cured? Most of the infected were cured but hated for what they had done. I don't know. I'm going to go look into that. I keep hearing about that theme, and I could have sworn I seen something that was like that, but it was in the UK. They had that English accent, you know what I mean? Ron, are you going to try out the new AR game, The Walking Dead Our World? Probably not. I might look into it, but from what I saw, it didn't really look like something that I'd be interested in. Did you guys hear about the aliens Colonial Marines was botched because of a one-letter typo in the code? I didn't hear anything about that. Dude, guys, I like your idea for the ending of your first Jason. I love that idea. I think if filmed right, that ending could be absolutely awesome. Because, listen, it's not the try-hard ending. And that's one thing that I wanted to make sure if I did this. Because originally the idea was I want to polish this. I want to take the time, polish this. And I want to get it to someone who's connected. At the time, I had a line for someone who was connected to possibly get it to someone legit, to give it a shot, to read it, to see if it was even worth picking up for the studio. And then after a while, I did something, and someone in the industry actually, like, legit was like, there's a lot of promise here, but why would you write this for Friday the 13th? There's so much here where you could turn this into your own original slasher and probably come out way better off than selling it to, I keep forgetting who owns the franchise right now. Well, there's a lawsuit, so but so once they told me that, and this was a legit thing, this is not just like a friend who's just trying to be nice. What was I paying for? I was paying for a I was entering a competition, and one of the judges had read it and then reached out and talked to me about it. And they did recommend that I make it an original character. I still might do that, to be honest, because why not? I do kind of feel, though, that a lot of what I love is nods to that thing, that concept that I loved growing up, which is the Friday the 13th character. Christina said, I watched that horror movie on Netflix tonight called The Ritual, about 4 British men in Swedish forest versus Bambi on steroids. That was crazy. Yeah, I seen that. I kind of like the design of that creature. It has like hands coming out of its head or something like that. It's like a deer legs with hands coming out. I enjoyed it. I forget the ending though. No, I haven't seen Nick Cage's new movie, Mandy. I'll look it up. Oh, hell yeah, then. That lakeside little girl scene will definitely be creepy. I'm telling you what, and this is what gets tricky, and this is why they say, I mean, Hollywood says it all the time, but if you look into screenwriting seminars or this and this and this, they always tell you never let anyone read your script, especially your first script. Don't let your family members read your script, because a number of different reasons, but they'll be like, you will be discouraged. It is nice to get feedback, though, and I'm at a point where I do know there's definitely a chunk of this script that needs to be repolished. I need to tweak some of the editing. I know the scenes where I was just too busy and in a hurry, and I was like, this scene isn't even important. Just I'll put whatever. Lee punches the girl in the face. Who cares? So I would have to go back if I was taking a series and polish it up. So that's why I don't mind sharing it, because it ain't in its finished state. And the scenes I do like, I am absolutely confident and convinced, if done right with the right atmosphere, it would work and work really good. Mr. Johnny said, I did love the original Elm Street, Freddy's arms extending and scraping the buildings. Him hiding under or behind an impossibly tiny tree made it very dreamlike. Lionel Watson, Ronnie, who would star in your own written horror film? I would pick Ethan Hawke, Ron Perlman, and the black dude from the Allstate commercials, and one hot chick quota. If I was making a horror film, I think it all depends on what type of horror film, but man, who would I pick? I don't know. I think it really depends on what type. I kind of hear that Michael Pitt is a jerk, but I would really like to write something for Michael Pitt. I think that would be great. Is that his name? He's the guy who was in Boardwalk Empire. He played, what's his name now? Darmody. Jimmy Darmody. I believe that's his name. Dude, guys, what did you think of the way they ended Sons of Anarchy? I thought it went out strong. Even the religious hints were always a part of the show. I liked it. I was mixed at first. I thought, man, I really wanted something different. But looking back, I don't think I would have been fully happy with any ending they did, because I didn't want it to end, Freddy was never scary to me. Kind of reminded me of Beetlejuice. I think that's what you wrote, right? Yeah. I love Beetlejuice too. I think Michael Keaton did a fantastic job with Beetlejuice. We need Johnny Cash, a werewolf hunter. My idea sequel to Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter. I'm not big on those type of movies. I did see that. I'm not big on it. Johnny Raincloud. Sorry, off topic. Ronnie, recently got HBO Now. Was wondering what you thought of the show The Leftovers. I love The Leftovers. I love it. I absolutely love it. What's up, honey? You're bored? Daddy's going to be done in 10 minutes. If you can hang on, I'll let you play a little Fortnite before bed. But then again, I better not. Kids play too many video games these days, apparently. My first live stream in a long time. Cheers, Ronnie. Oh, thanks for coming by again. In the movie, does Nick Cage have a snakeskin jacket? Jennifer Sanchez, have you seen the trailer, The Nun? If so, do you think it will be a good scary movie? The Nun. I seen the trailer. The trailer didn't convince me at all. But it was the teaser trailer. I don't know if they released a full one yet. The Open House is another horror flick Netflix just released. I had a friend of mine who also loves horror movies, and he told me to stay far, far away from The Open House. We have a lot of the same tastes, so I might just avoid that unless a lot of people tell me it's good. I wish we can get a 28 months later. Oh, yeah. I'm up for another one. Hi, Ronnie. This is my first time on a live stream. Keep up the work, making videos when you have time. I totally enjoy your stuff. Take care, man. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it gets tricky trying to do the videos when you have the time. I'm excited about next week, though. I don't want to say anything because if it doesn't work out, I know I'm going to have 100 comments. But next week is when we go full steam ahead with YouTube full time. I've been going back and forth just because I can't seem to catch a break. Something's always going on. But, yeah, next week is when we're now keep mine. It's not going to be every day without a doubt, yada, yada, yada. But next week is when I start doing them, and I'll know within the week if it'll continue for the next few months or if we're going to have some downtime here and there, But it'll be fun. I'll definitely know by next week. Next week is a big week for the channel, so if everything works out good, we should have consistent videos here and on the Ronnie Hayes. We're going to have Fortnite videos, a lot of them on the Ronnie Hayes coming out. Michael Shannon was scary in Boardwalk Empire. Yeah, I liked him in that. Ronnie, did you get a chance to watch Westworld Season 2 yet? If not, you should. It's great. Yeah, I'm in the middle of watching it. I like it. Paint Chip said, I think the guy who played Jim in The Office and the guy from A Quiet Place would make a good super realistic horror movie villain. Dude seems like he could pull off being crazy if he wanted to. Yeah, I think we need more horror movies and stuff. We need a lot of things. We need more of original stuff coming out in Hollywood. It feels like right now Hollywood is dead set on taking anything that has a franchise and just going nuts with it, I mean, they're rebooting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles already, and that's another one I wanted to do a video on. Me and my brother were talking the other day about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he just said something that immediately turned into this 30-minute conversation of what we would do with a teenage, if we were able to make a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And I think we're on to something, because he started it off by saying, I want the Turtles to all have red bandanas because it's a nod to the original. In the original comic book, they all had red bandanas. And he said, Mikey is goofy. He can do it as a goof. And the other brothers, break his chops. But then next thing you know, you see all four brothers, younger versions of the Turtles, all four brothers with bandanas. And not like baby turtles, but it's not like when they're fully officially Ninja Turtles. This is when they're being trained by Splinter. It's the first movie. Again, we'll do 2 or 3 movies. It's the first one where they're learning to work together. Leo's learning to be the leader. Raph is dealing with his temper. Mikey's, So once he said that, I was like, oh my God, I love that idea so much. I think the fans would love that idea so much. And I said, you know what we need to do? We need to find some people to help us design the Turtles and use the 1990 Turtles as the foundation, the Jim Henson outfit. Instead of making these Michael Bay, is that who's doing it? Whoever the hell is doing the Ninja Turtles now with the ugly, huge, bulking. He made Hulks for Turtles. And instead of doing that, find people, a creative team that can help us come up with a concept using the 90s Turtles as the foundation. I was like, oh my God, you got that, you got the red bandanas, and I said, yo, let's do this. April O'Neil when she gets to know the turtles, she realizes they are their own, they are different. They're not all the same. They have their own personality, and she wanted to highlight that. She wanted to say thank you for something, so she shows up, and she knows Leo's favorite color is blue, or maybe he likes the color. He has blue stuff in his room. She gives him a blue bandana. She gives Mikey the orange bandana, Donnie the purple bandana, and then she gives Raph a new red bandana because red is Raph's favorite color, so he sticks with it. That's what he wants. I was like, oh man, that would be a great way to do like a little origin thing to the bandanas, but also that way we incorporate the nod to the original Having All Red. And I was like, that would be awesome to have the first, the three movies. The first movie, the turtles work together. Mikey is the one that pulls on all the heartstrings because he is the jokey one. You know what I mean? So have Mikey just being wrecked, and it's the other turtles. They have to get to him and rescue him in time, and they individually learn to use their own individual strengths, and we'll break it down, like Lito being a leader and smart, and Donnie with his stuff and whatever. You guys already know. I shouldn't have to go into it, but they're yada yada yada. But in the end of the first movie, even though they put in one hell of a fight, it's Splinter who has to help them. They learn how to come together, and that's because he gets injured in the first movie really bad, like has his knee like snapped, Obviously, it's not going to be graphic for the kids, but he has his knee snapped. So after the first movie, even though Splinter was a huge part in helping them defeat the big bad, Splinter would be permanently with this damage. His leg is not going to heal right, and then that's what really pushes the turtles to train even harder, train even better. And that's why after they start going out and Splinter's the one who stays home, he has that really bad knee and yada yada yada. But yeah, we put together a whole bunch of things. I do want to do a video covering a lot of it, but me and my brother would often sit down and come up with some really good ideas. He had a really good Superman idea back in the day that I thought was amazing. I forget what it is, but I know the only part I remember is it was him at Superman attacking Doomsday, and he thought up this really emotional scene where like Superman's crying, but it's mixing with his blood, and he just makes this final attempt to attack Doomsday. It was incredible, but I would love to come up with certain ideas like that for a little video idea. What about Game of Thrones? Definitely worth watching. I like Game of Thrones. I think the guy who played Jim... Oh, okay, I saw it. Ronnie, I saw the new Purge movie last night. It was okay. I'm not a fan of the Purge, franchise. Thanks for recommending Safe on Netflix. Only one episode in, but it's good. Yeah, Safe is good. Safe is definitely good. It's different. It's not like, horror, whatever, but it's definitely got a cliffhanger for a new mystery thing if you're into that, I wish you the best of luck going full-time with YouTube. This is fantastic news to hear from you. Oh, thank you very much. USA Network is doing the Purge TV show. Did you see the trailer? No, I didn't. I'll look it up, though. What was his name? John Cranston? I forget. Imagine if Ronnie Hayes and John Wen got together for a horror movie. Isn't he the guy who did Saw? They'd make the best horror movie of all time, no doubt. I think that would be incredible. That's one thing I'm really trying to do. Get the channel going where we're full-time. But when I keep saying that, I mean I'm going to be a week ahead of you guys, and hopefully if things go well in a few months, I'm going to be 2 weeks ahead of you. So when I'm making content, you guys aren't going to see it for 2 weeks. I'm trying to do that. Unless it's breaking news, obviously. I'm going to put everything on hold and do the breaking news story for that day. But that's the goal, to be ahead of you guys, because the idea is to get ahead on MAPP, so I can have a structure and there's no more downtime. There's a schedule. It's more professional. And once that's rolling good, we're going to get like an official different studio set up, better camera, It'll look really nice. And then the comic book, Doomsday Kingdom, is MAPP's first official, released original content. And after we get the comic going, Hopefully we can get a publisher this year. Whatever. It takes months. It probably won't be in comic books till next year, depending on how long it takes. But if we can lock down a publisher at least, the next thing is after that, I want to start selling some screenplays. I've been sitting on a few. I've gotten some interest in some things, so I want to pursue that and at least get 1 or 2 sold. I really feel like a combination of the channel, the comic, the success with the comic, and then if I get at least just 1 script sold, I just need people to, or I'm hoping I just need people to, in the industry who want some fresh ideas to say, oh, we'll give him a shot. What's the harm? I read a script. You know what I mean? Because I really think I have some scripts that would be just friggin' amazing as movies. It's a lot coming down the line, but I think it's going to be fun. And eventually, once we get past putting our screenplays out there, we do want to produce original content for MAPP, like on the channel. So off topic, but Ronnie, I really like your channel. I'm not always on YouTube, but when I am, I'm always on your channel. Stay badass, man. Well, thank you very much, Dials. I appreciate the support. Any last questions? Get them in here. We're already past our hour mark, and that seems to be like the special number I keep hearing people say. We get a handful of people that say go 5 hours long, but this is like a special Friday the 13th stream, so I'll keep it. The majority seem to like an hour live streams. What do we got? Ronnie, I finally played The Last of Us a couple months ago after hearing you talk about it so much. I can't believe I slept on it for so long. Favorite season was winter. Which season did you enjoy most? That's tricky. I'd probably pick winter too, but spring was another. I don't know. I like spring. I think it was the spring, right? Or the fall. I forget now. When I finished the Last of Us gameplay, which is coming soon. I think another week and a half. I'll be able to pick out my favorite season. Have you seen the show Van Helsing, a vampire post-apocalypse, but most of the vampires are like zombies. If they don't drink blood, they would be ferals. Vanessa could turn the regular humans with a bite. I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out. I was just being nerdy, remembering the movie on Beetlejuice business cards. He spells his name Beetle guys. Oh, okay, all right. I knew that was a little off, but I didn't want to say anything because I thought maybe there's a joke I don't know about. Your TMNT idea is great. Reminds me of how Rocky loses in the first movie. Listen, I'm telling you what, and again, I don't mean to sound over cocky, but I'm telling you what. We had like this, like I said, like 30-minute, 40-minute of just ideas, and then coming up with different ideas for the theme of it, how dark it would be or how light it would be, and it would be grounded in reality. Obviously, we'd make it for everybody, but not like the corny crap that they got going on now. We're not, I don't know. I think the Turtles movies, the new ones, were such a failure and so off the mark of what they could be. But I have this vision of just Mikey getting just an emotional, dark moment and really going above and beyond to tell the story for the Ninja Turtles. I think it would be friggin' amazing. I think the original creators would like it too, because they always hated selling the Turtles out basically to where they're family-friendly crap, And again, I'm not going to make them Negan's version of the Ninja Turtles, but these Ninja Turtles, it would be a combination of, it's okay for the kids, but there are some moments where it's like, ooh, that might be a little rough. Like Mikey gets hurt. He gets hurt a lot. Splinter gets his knee snapped in half, like Shredder ain't playing around. But it would be without having a bone ripping through flesh, so it's not over the top, not gratuitous, Johnny Raincloud, would you be interested in a horror comedy that progressively became less and less humorous and eventually was full-blown horror? I think it would catch a lot of people off guard. Yeah, as long as the comedy isn't slapstick in the beginning, I think that would work, absolutely. If you don't think horror and comedy works well together, look at Kung Fu Hustle. It's it's like slapstick humor, unrealistic scenes and shit like that. One girl like Kung Fu Hustle, one of my all-time favorite movies ever. It's probably like my second favorite movie of all time. There's a scene in there that turns straight horror for a moment, and if it was in a horror movie, it would be like, oh my god, that's chilling. But it's beautifully done. Kung Fu Hustle, it's a great movie. James Wan, Ronnie, you had the right one in mind. He did Saw, The Conjuring, Insidious, Dead Silence, and many other great horror movies. Okay, I knew that name. I like the Saw movies a lot more than most people, I think, because I like how they tried to combine them all. There's some stuff it's not believable. It's a stretch, obviously, but I did enjoy what they tried to do. Is Dead Silence a good horror movie? I haven't seen it yet. It's about a ventriloquist, right? I saw that in theaters when I was younger, and I didn't like it at all. Anybody else see Sinister, and did anybody notice it had the creepiest music? I haven't seen it. Ronnie, tell us something juicy and full of suspense. Did you think the camera froze? Or the thing lagged on you? That was suspenseful. Ronnie, tell us. Oh, all right. Viking Simulator with zombies. I feel it could work. Oh, geez. Ronnie, love your vids and thoughts on all entertainment. My first comment, so I hope you see it. I saw it, Brent. Thank you very much for the support. A stream without Charmander, he will be crushed. Charmander comes in right now and says hello. Did you know I was right about them going to DC? I don't even know what that means. Spoke too soon. He's here. You should watch the trailer for the domestic movie. It looks interesting. I'll check it out. Mad that music during the Super 8 films were chilling. Never had that feeling from another movie. Do you think we will ever get the opportunity? Do you think you will ever get the opportunity to become a writer for The Walking Dead, even just for one episode? I don't think so, no. The Walking Dead doesn't have, unless they change something, they don't have writers coming in and out like that. As far as I'm aware, after Frank Darabont fired his writers going into season 2 or in the middle of season 2, and ever since season 3, they've had the same 8 writers. I think a couple have gone, but they usually only have 8, but they don't like bring somebody in just to write an episode. That's the director. They get directors, a different director for every episode. Sometimes directors do multiple episodes, but that's the writers though. There's set writers for the whole season. Again, unless something changed or I'm misremembering, but that's it. But no, I don't believe I'll ever get the chance to write on The Walking Dead. I do feel confident if I was able to break into the writing world with a script and, like I said, my Doomsday comic, I do believe I would be able to write something good that would be like a spin-off or maybe for a part of a video game. I would feel confident with that type of job. But I don't think anything's going to happen anytime soon to where I could do The Walking Dead. Kung Fu Hustle. Gonna watch it this weekend, I swear. Yeah, go watch it now. What did you think about Get Out? So why did so many white people seem to hate it? I liked it. I don't think I've seen a single white person hate it, but it depends on what part of Twitter you're on, I guess. Why do you care who I voted for? I have to take time out and wake up for work tomorrow. Nice one. All right, Ronnie, I just watched a movie called How Way It Ends. What? Ronnie, I just watched a movie called How Way It Ends on Netflix. How Way It Ends? What? Do you mean How the World Ends? I watched that too and I liked it. It wasn't a movie though. It was like a 3-part series. No, I haven't tried Shameless yet. No. Hey, we're going to shut this down, buddy. What are you doing? You better not be texting anybody. It's late. All right, guys. don't forget to come by on Sunday. We have our Sunday live stream. And I did hear, I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything. I don't think it's a big deal, but somebody, said that we might be getting character promos, for The Walking Dead, how they released the character promo images. We may be getting that this week. I think that would be pretty cool. I forget when we normally get it. I do know San Diego Comic-Con is coming up next week, so, it should be soon. It should be soon. Ronnie, you should make a video on how you would have made the Whisperer War. I think that might be fun to do. Something laid back, though. Something laid back would work, I wouldn't want to take all that time to do some edited insane, but I might look into doing something laid back. I think the beginning is the most interesting, because in the comic it works to have no one that's well known run into the Whisperers first. Like, it was a new character, Dante, with Ken and Marco before that. And I think it would be interesting to see someone we know, like the Savior, who is now living at the hilltop, helping out Maggie, going from one community to the other. Him and 3 other guys or something. One gets killed. Him and Eduardo, let's say, this would be perfect. Him and Eduardo are trying to make it back, and instead of picking new people, just take those people that we've already started to grow a connection with. The rain is coming, there's a horde coming, and just like the comic, we only find, let's say, the Savior, or we only find Eduardo, and he's freaking out, and he's like, the zombies, the dead, they're talking or something. They're speaking. I think that would be better than the comic version, because in the comic version, they need to remix everything that's happened, because so much revolves around Carl, so much revolves around Rick bringing Carl to the hilltop. So a nice remix of that introduction would be great, No, Charmanders, you cannot be a mod. You don't stand a chance. Thank you for the support. I'm just being honest with you. You don't stand a chance. Ronnie, the title is How It Ends. Sorry, my phone auto-corrected. How It Ends? I'll look it up. That's funny. All right, guys, like I said, next Sunday, come out 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Did I say that right? And look forward to next week. I'm trying to think if I know what's coming out. I know we have one Walking Dead video about Season 9 coming out next week for sure. It's about what won't be in Season 9. I know we always talk about what we're going to see, but I know something we will not be seeing in Season 9. And what else? There's that. There's the Fortnite ones. I'm hoping that'll get us over the hump to start. You guys let me know if you want me to dive back into Outlast or The Last of Us first. We're going to be doing both of them. We'll get both of them done. But in about a week or two, we're going to be picking up one of them and then finishing it, and then picking up the other, finishing it, and then we're going to be going to something fresh and getting it set up. So that way we have, like, whatever new we pick up, we'll know how many videos and when it's coming out. But I don't want to keep talking about that. Besides, my daughter's bothering me now. She wants to play a video game, and I'll let her play it half an hour before bed. All right, guys.
She just won a game, 9 kills.
Yeah, she just won a game. It was pretty badass. They got these traps you can lay down that throw you or bounce you, and she put a trap on the wall, and it bounced her over to the enemy, and she popped the guy in the face with a shotgun. One pump, done. It was pretty badass, I admit. All right, I'll check out what you guys have to say. I see 3 Outlast and 3 Last of Us. It's even right now. Oh boy. All right, guys. I'm looking for the stop. There we go. Stop streaming. In the poster, doesn't it look like Commonwealth? No, I don't think it looks like Commonwealth at all in the poster. It looks like the ruins of DC. In my opinion, unless you're talking about a different poster. But we'll discuss more coming up this week, and then obviously Sunday. Just won a 12 kill game today. Not that bad. Dylan got 12 kills. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, guys. Good night. Good night. I don't want to keep saying that because I'll get stuck reading the comments forever because I have a habit of not shutting up.